close the gap while the Knicks try to put the defending champs on the brink of elimination. Game 4 tips off shortly at Madison Square Garden at the bottom of the hour. The NBA draft lottery gets underway in a few minutes. The Nets with a 90% chance at winning the top pick, which will be Duke's Cooper Flag. Mets and the Yankees and Dodgers ahead, but tonight it's the Pirates at Citi Field, and Rookie of the Year Paul Skeens on the mound. The Mets counter with David Peterson as they look to improve on their 15-4 record at home. The Yankees continue their road trip in Seattle with the first 3 against the Mariners. Coverage on the Fan will begin at 9 o'clock, and the Jets have signed 4th-round pick receiver Arian Smith, leaving only Mason Taylor as unsigned. This report is sponsored by Rinse Laundry and Dry Cleaning, and that's what's happening. I'm Rich Adams. All right, it's all yours.
All right. See you in an hour. Yeah, let's do a quick 2-hour show. Why not? KM to 9 p.m. Keith McPherson on the Fan, taking your calls at 888-808-1019. What a week we are walking into. You may be a little nervous, might have a little case of the Mondays. We've got the draft lottery in about 15 minutes. In about half an hour, Game 4 from Madison Square Garden. Celtics, Knicks, and 90% of the basketball fans in this city are probably Knicks fans, and let's give the Nets 10%. I know that's probably too much. If you listen to the Fan, are the Nets still in the league? All 7, 8, 9, 10 of the Nets fans. We'll start with the Nets quickly, and then we'll get to the Knicks. And, of course, the Yankees and the Mets, and maybe some NFL schedule leak stuff as well. I only got 2 hours. I'll make it quick. Knicks fans, Nets fans. We are connected through this Mikal Bridges saga. And it's funny, right? Mikal Bridges balled in those first 2 games. And all of us said, hey, to hell with them picks. F them picks. Damn them picks. He's earned his keep. He's earned the value of that deal, right? Who cares about those picks? Wait. I mean, it was a great showing, but it's 2 games. And yeah, we have no idea what those picks will turn into, but I think that down the line, we will look back and say, man, these picks, they ended up helping the Brooklyn Nets. And what I say to my Net fans that listen to WFAN, that listen to Evan, whether you're in the coalition of Knicks haters or not, I'm not in the coalition of Knicks haters. I'm not hating. It is what it is. Nets fans, we're always punching up no matter what. The Nets have moved the team so much on us, they can't consistently be good. Even this past year, they couldn't consistently tank. So do not set yourself up for failure. What do they say? Expectation is the thief of joy. I'm not expecting anything tonight from the NBA draft lottery or the basketball gods. Why would the Nets get Cooper Flag? Why would the ball bounce the way for Brooklyn to be the number 1 pick? I don't even expect them to be a top 3 pick. If they end up 4, 5, 6, party. Great celebration. But like, I have no expectation for this. I do not care. I'm like, it's a draft. And you know what I'll say to the Net fan? You know, the Nets will be hosting the draft again on June 25th and June 26th. How many years did you watch the Nets host the draft and they didn't have a pick? Not a lottery pick, just didn't have a first-round pick, just weren't involved in anywhere in it besides being the host. A ton of years. And the basketball gods haven't been kind to the Nets, and I don't expect them to be kind now. So there's the Nets conversation. Draft lottery is on right in front of me. They are going to fluff this up. It's a made-for-TV event. It has evolved like crazy over the years. Ultimately, do I know who's going to? I don't know. I don't care. Let's see what happens with that in a few minutes. Now, for the Knicks fans that are nervous today, I feel you and I understand. That was a rough game on Saturday. As much as it cost to go into the Garden and as deep as that crowd was outside of the Garden, 1 loss in this series has changed everything. The party outside the Garden is not the same as it was over the weekend. The vibes are not the same. The energy is a little bit down, and you understand why. You know, as I was thinking about the game and putting together notes, I just kept coming around to this. The Knicks stole 2 games. They stole the first 2 games. They stole them. They were able to take those 2 games in Boston on the road. But you can't steal a series. 888, you know the number to dial. You can't steal a series. There's going to have to be a game in the series where you just outright beat your opponent. You can steal a couple games, but you can't steal a series. You're going to have to go mano-a-mano with them for 4 quarters. The Knicks have not gone toe-to-toe with them like that. You know it. I know it. Anybody watching knows that they have not been able to see the Celtics on the floor. And Saturday, it seemed like the Celtics, the defending champions that have been here before, they needed to get out of Boston. And now they owe their fans a win in Boston, but they needed to get out of Boston. They needed to come to the Garden, which, yes, world's most famous arena. Yes, the greatest venue in sports and all that. But it's that for everyone, not just home court advantage for the Knicks. And we can blame it on the crowd. Oh, the ticket price is priced out the diehard Knicks fan. No, they didn't. There were diehard Knicks fans in there. Being rich doesn't take away your ability to yell and scream and clap. I know there was a whole verdict out there about, it's not going to be the right energy and this is going to hurt the Knicks before the game. But I mean, even during the game, I remember hearing, I think CP the franchise said him and Stephon Marbury put out a word that, it's everybody standing in there, nobody sitting unless you have to sit. You can't control fans. Put a pin in that. We'll get to the can't control fans when we start talking about the Subway Series again. But you can't control fans. You can't police fans. You can't tell people what to do once they go in there and they spend their money. And people are always influenced by the people around them. There was one point in the game early. I was at a birthday party. I was watching the game on my phone, headset in. And they play that, is New York in the house right now? And I was waiting for the crowd to be like, hell yeah. And it was crickets. And I'm like, oh, no, this is not a crowd that's going to help the Knicks win. And the Knicks didn't help themselves. 888-808-1019. Saturday is over, but that game was a game where the Celtics said, okay, we're down 2 games, but it doesn't take 2 games to win the series. Okay, we're down 2 games. We've been here before. Okay, we'll come into your building, and we don't have to steal a victory. We don't have to win in the final seconds. We just got to get back to being who we are, and they were. They still chucked up threes, but the difference is they doubled their percentage. They went from 25% to 50%. The 6th man of the year, Peyton Pritchard, he was money. And you need at least a game like that from that guy in the series where he goes off for 23 points, hits 5 of 10 of his threes. He was a +8 in the game. And then when their starters do what they do, whether it's Tatum hitting 5 threes or old man Al Horford hitting 3 out of 4 threes, Drew Holiday knocks down 2, Derek White 3. That is how they win. They're not abandoning their strategy. They're going to hack a Mitch tonight. You might get mad about it. You might not like it. It is what it is. But the Celtics are not flinching. Is tonight the night that the Knicks just outright compete? Can the Knicks get a lead early in this game? Is tonight the night where the Knicks say, okay, this game on our floor, we have to take. Because if we don't take this, then the series is even. Then the 2 games you stole get erased. Then they come back and match you. And there's talk about all these other things. All it's going to matter is the guys on the court, right? Tonight's game is on ESPN. I saw New York Basketball put out the Knicks record in the second round last 3 seasons. They're 7-1 in TNT games. They're 0-8 in ESPN games. Okay, so I guess this is a scheduled loss. I guess this one you got to put it on the broadcast crew, which will feature Mike Breen, Bang, Richard Jefferson, Doris Burke, a good crew, and Breen being the Knicks announcer, at least you'll be able to listen to the game and get the local feel. But then there's also conversation about the officiating, who the umpire, not the umpires, I'm getting into baseball, who the referees are. Scott Foster will be officiating game 4 of Celtics-Knicks. And, he had been out the last 2 months, and the Celtics are 12-0 in games that he's officiated. So everybody put your bets in now. Well, you got your last 20 minutes. Everybody put your bets in now on the Boston Celtics to even up the series. The only way I see that not happening is if the Knicks have some way to score with them, defend, and not wait until the last few seconds. Can we get a Brunson 40 ball? Karl Anthony Towns is battling a finger injury. It was only going to be so long before the relatively healthy Knicks, right? The narrative in the beginning of the series was Porzingis is sick. Tatum's got a wrist. Drew Holiday's coming off a hamstring. Brown's knee isn't right. They lost Sam Hauser. Like, the narrative in the beginning of the series was the Celtics choked and the Celtics aren't right. They aren't healthy. Well, a few days have gone by now. Obviously, the time it took to travel to New York and play the game Saturday, and then even getting a rest day yesterday, boom, they're back on the floor. The Celtics are going to be fine. But are the Knicks going to be fine? 888-808-1019. Let's go to Jacob in New Jersey on the Fan in the Open. You got it. You're on.
I don't want to hear any about this ESPN crew. I don't care about the crew. We got to show out today. We deserve this. We got to defend home court. I'd love to see Mitch start today. I don't think it's going to happen. But Josh is just not doing it for me. I'd love to see Mitch out there starting, taking that tip. Cat has to come out aggressive today. Got to take it right at Horford's chest, right from the beginning. Had an absolutely awful series so far. And that's just the only way that we're going to show up and defend our home court. We've been awful on the home court in the whole postseason. And it's just, we got to take a little.
Hey, fingers crossed, bro. Fingers crossed they have to. But last game, they came out flat. There was no sense of urgency. Human nature took over. There were all these excuses for that. And I'm like, how? When you're up 2-0? How? When you're at home? How? When you're seeing these videos of fans crying, tears of joy, hugging, embracing. We took 2-0 in Boston, Knicks in 4. Now, the lineup alert already came out 17 minutes ago. The Knicks will start Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, and Karl Anthony Towns. The Celtics will start Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford. But yeah, it's going to take a lot because they have been outscored a lot in the series. When you look at not just the final scores, if you look at the minutes, the Knicks have not led. They didn't take a lead in that third game in their building. They were down 31. So as I look at the Boston Celtics, who I've looked at a lot, I'm tired of them, honestly. You know, I had people thinking I turned into a Knicks fan. I'm never going to turn into a Celtics fan. I am a New Yorker. I would love to see the Knicks knock them off. But the last time I was on, I said, you win the first two games, you have to win the series. They lose tonight, it's a new series. Nathan is in Westchester, New York on the Fan. What's up, Nathan?
Hey, I was wondering, what do you think about starting Mitch, and how do you think like the Garden and like being such a big stage impacts like how good like Tatum's going to play and how good the Stars are going to play?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Nathan. They've already put out the starting lineup alert. They're not going to start Mitchell Robinson, and they shouldn't. They'll put him in when they need to put him in. If Karl Anthony Towns gets in early foul trouble, here he goes. I saw video of Mitchell Robinson shooting his foul shots. He hit two. Second one rattled in, but they're putting video out there of him in warm-ups trying to get ready to shoot from the charity stripe, man. It is what it is, though. The guy's not going to magically be 100%, not even be 50% overnight. They're going to hack a Mitch. You can bank on it. You can count on it. You can get mad about it. But you know what? This is what it's going to come down to. Like you mentioned, Jason Tatum, their stars being stars and doing what they're supposed to do. We still haven't got the 30, 35, 40-point game out of Jason Tatum. That could happen tonight. And the cast of characters that they have around them, from Jaylen Brown to Derek White to Drew, like we still haven't gotten a big secondary performance. Honestly, it was Peyton Pritchard. That's why I mentioned him first. Peyton Pritchard off the bench, 6th man of the year, leading all scorers for the Boston Celtics. He came to the Garden like he was Steph Curry. He turned it on like he was Steph in the Garden or LeBron or Kobe in the Garden. You know how these guys come to the Garden and they turn up. That's why I say Madison Square Garden is a home court advantage. It's home court advantage for everybody. They know everybody's watching. They know how much it costs to be in there. They see Tracy Morgan and Ben Stiller and Sting and Timothy Chalamet and, I don't know, Fat Joe and Jadakiss and Carmelo Anthony, J.R. Smith and Patrick Ewing. They know what time it is. Sharif and Tom's River on the Fan in New York. What's up, Reef?
KM, huge fan, brother. I love what you do.
Appreciate
it. I just want to make one thing clear. I think we all always forget that this is the NBA playoffs, not the NFL playoffs. Grit and hard work and hustling can only take you so far, and it's talent that usually prevails. And unfortunately, the Celtics are too talented and way too deep for this Knicks team to stay with them. I mean, we had to have two of the worst shooting performances in my life to get 2 games, and we were down 20 both those games. So I'm rooting for the Knicks. I hope all is going to work out, but we need to slow them down and slow the game down. Because once the Celtics start running around and jacking up these threes, if they're going in, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, and you know what? The fans, as much as they love the Knicks, in the pit of their stomach, in the back of their mind, not even, it's in the front of their mind now. If the Celtics get rolling, you're going to hear the moans and groans in there, and you're going to hear the Knick fan turn. You're going to hear some of them not believe. The ticket prices drop. The ticket prices were $900, $1,000 on Saturday. The smart fan would have waited to today. They're down around $600. But you know what that means? That means the Celtics fans that live among us, yeah, they're pulling up to the Garden tonight. It's going to be an interesting one for sure.
That's right, Cam. Enjoy it, man. Have a good night.
Reef, your topic was Nets lottery pick. For a second, I thought you were a Celtics fan. Then I thought you were a Knicks fan. I was waiting for it to come around. The Brooklyn Nets. There it is. Number 8. Well, at least I timed the call up right for the pick. What did I say? I wasn't expecting anything. I'll take a top 10 pick. I said if they get 4, 5, or 6, party. But I'll take 8. Now let's see. We're going to get to the 6th pick right here. And I know this is going to piss me off. I just already know how it's going to line up. The Wizards, the team that actually tanked and were terrible all year, get the 6th pick. The 76ers, don't let it be Jared McCain.
Crazy draft right now. The Spurs, the Mavericks, the 76ers so far.
Okay, so 6 is the Washington Wizards. 5 is the Utah Jazz. Here comes the top 4 picks. And the teams remaining are the Charlotte Hornets, the Philadelphia 76ers, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Dallas Mavericks, which wouldn't it be something? I'm not going to speak anything. This mic is too powerful. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to just let it happen as they have Cooper Flag on camera right now.
It happened. This is the NBA conspiracy theorist saying you got Luka off the team and you get Cooper. It's right there.
Don't put him on the team with that other guy that was one and done at Duke. Don't put him on the team with Kyrie. Kyrie and Cooper Flag on the Mavs. They're instantly back. And I also don't want to see him join Wemby. That would be ridiculous.
In Philly.
Instant legend in Philly. Joining that team. They start to slowly usher Embiid out the door, and it becomes Cooper Flag. And you put Coop and Coop. It's Cooper Flag and Cooper DeJean in Philly.
Relevancy nowhere, ends up in Charlotte.
That can't happen. But not far from Duke. Yep, not far from Duke. I'm sure they would love it, but the Hornets are terrible. They never do anything. They're not worth it. I hope that does not happen. Okay, here we go. 888-808-1019. We got to take the first break. Keith McPherson on the fan. This is a quick show tonight. But now we know that the Brooklyn Nets will pick 8th overall in this upcoming draft, and I'm cool with that. I am cool with that. I'm not having a parade in here. I'm wearing my Brooklyn Nets shirt because some people tried to pull my card. I'm on the stream. This shirt says, "We are playoffs from 2015." I was trying to tell some of these goofies. I'm like, I was at the Brooklyn Nets playoffs 2013, 2015, 2018. I've been there. Now, it's quiet for the Nets. I'm not beating my chest about being a Net fan. And I also wasn't getting my hopes up for the number 1 overall pick tonight because I knew that wasn't happening. It's simple math. The percentages it would take the luckiest of luck, and the Nets are never that lucky. So the Nets will be picking 8th, and the draft will return to Brooklyn on the 25th. And this is Keith McPherson on the fan, taking your calls on the Knicks and probably going to sprinkle in some Yankees and Mets when we return from this break. BRB. All right, yo. Yeah, so the Brooklyn Nets pick 8th overall. And I'm not mad about that, yo. I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad about that. It is what it is, yo. They weren't about to get the number one pick. I knew they weren't going to be top 3. I would have been happy with 6. Honestly, if they would have got to 6, I would have been like, yeah. But 8 is what it is. Let me look at tankathon.com and see what they got. Who could fall to us? You know. At 8, they got I cannot pronounce this guy's name, and I'm not going to act like I watched him play at Illinois, a freshman point guard, Kasparis Jakosionis from Lithuania. That's who Tankathon has ranked as their number 8 prospect. Or Derek Queen. Oh, Derek Queen out of Maryland, I like. There's some good players. So I'm not tripping off that at all. But, like, they're going to miss out on Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey. And so be it. I don't care. Let me hit the chat and see where y'all at. Pam, what's up? Appreciate you always. Hope the Knicks win tonight. Keep rooting for the Nets. I will. I chose this fate a long time ago when I was about this tall. I figured that one out, and I know it sucks. Michael, what's up, man? Levi, what's up? What up, Brody? You in there for the Subway Series, bro? I'm gonna try and figure out some things for the Subway Series. We need all the real ones at this Subway Series. Keith, let's get to the lotto talk for the Nets. I did. It's not much to talk about, and I knew we would we'd get the results pretty quickly. What up, yo? Now that you jumped off the Cowboys bandwagon, when they go to the playoffs this year, root for somebody else. Wow, we always got to go through this. Let me pull you closer in. Listen, dog, you can't tell me anything. And why are you so sure they're going to the playoffs? Also, if they go to the playoffs, don't they usually get bounced first round? Easy. Relax. Let's settle down. Cowboys players and coaches change teams every year. Why not a fan? That's what I'm saying. Okay, here it is. Here's the lottery results. The Hornets at 4. That's the best case. Sixers, they'll get Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey. It's going to go to the Mavericks. Y'all talking about the Dallas Cowboys, you're talking about the wrong team from Dallas. The Dallas Mavericks just won the number 1. Of course. Dallas. Of course, yo. Oh, they got the baddies out at Citi Field. Get this off my screen. Incredible. Happy belated Mother's Day to the queens in your life, bro. You as well, bro. I'll see you Friday. I'll be there with my princess. She gets her first taste of the Subway Series. Wow. You going for Dad of the Year, bro. I'm not gonna hold you. You going for Dad of the Year, bro. One, that is like the hottest ticket in the city. Outside of these Knick games, which, like, I don't think too many Knick fans are gonna want to go to that game Friday if you're picking up what I'm putting down. And yeah, man. Subway Series is crazy. So I'll see you. I'm in there Friday. I might be in there Saturday. Let's go Knicks, right? We better go. Better get going. As the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft lottery goes to Dallas. Keith McPherson on the fan. I knew that was going to happen. We all did. Now everybody's saying it's rigged. But we all kind of knew as Nico Harrison traded away Luka Doncic. I saw a video someone put together on like TikTok or Instagram, a reel about how, yeah, that like the NBA is aware of that because the NBA, of course, they can veto trades, they can stop trades. The NBA is aware of that deal going down. And they were kind of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, LeBron's on his way out. We need another star in LA. It ain't going to be LeBron Jr., Bronny James. Send them Luka. Get AD, Anthony Davis up out of here. We'll do you a solid, right? That ball's going to bounce your way. They didn't know Kyrie was going to get hurt. They didn't know their fate in the, play in or whatever. But like for them to get the number 1 pick and this kid Cooper Flag is going to Dallas, it's already done. And then you pair him up with Kyrie Irving, and they're going to be a problem as soon as next year. This kid is not going to look like a rookie. He's coming into the league, and he's playing a lot of minutes, and they're going to get him right. And look how Nico Harrison doesn't even deserve this, but look at how it all just comes around. The universe never unconnects.
Organizations involved. The Lakers get Luka, the next star. The NBA gets rewarded, obviously, and Dallas gets rewarded.
And Cooper Flag doesn't have to be a Washington Wizard. He was talking about running it back at one point this season.
Cooper in Dallas for Dallas trading Luka. NBA has Cooper Flag in a big market now again in Dallas.
Yeah,
Dallas adds to the greatness of Luka and Dirk and all the guys that they've drafted in the top over the years. And it's an incredible deal for everyone involved. Everyone should be really happy. The Mavericks had a 1.8% chance of getting the number 1 pick. 1.8.
Yeah, but they had a better chance than the Brooklyn Nets. You knew that. The NBA script writers, they don't stop. What do they have in store for us tonight in Game 4? 888-808-1019. I'll go into it a little bit more, man. The Celtics, they have an opportunity here to put their foot on the gas right away and then play their entire bench. The Celtics have an opportunity here to take the heart out of the New York Knicks and the New York Knicks fans. Now, what needs to happen for that not to happen? The Knicks have to score. The Knicks have to play up right away. It can't be you're down 16 after the first quarter. I don't know how it happens. I don't know how it turns on for them. I rely on Brunson. The head coach and the captain have to be the tone setters. Brunson's got to come out and take what he wants. Brunson's got to come out and score the basketball. Brunson's got to come out and lead the way. And then you hope other guys get involved that can score the basketball earlier. Mikal Bridges, don't wait. OG Anunoby, don't wait. Because everybody and their mother knows that it's going to be Brunson. Karl-Anthony Towns, he's compromised. But I know he's playing through the injury. He's not going to lean on, my finger's hurt or my finger's broken. They're going to play. But ultimately, all right, look, now they're showing the outside of Madison Square Garden, not as lively as it was Saturday, but still just as packed. I mean, if it's free, it's for me. In New York City, you have a free watch party out there. There's people pulling up. Let's go back to the phones. The Nets ended up getting the 8th overall pick. So just to recap there, and I know there was a lot of Nets fans praying and hoping that it would be Cooper Flag. It was never going to be Cooper Flag. The Mavericks theory was out there for a while. The conspiracy theorists on NBA Twitter are going crazy right now. NBA scriptwriters are undefeated. TNT, more drama. I say it all the time. Like this NBA stuff is all about narratives and storylines and this like fake script playing out. But yeah, the Dallas Mavericks get the number 1 pick. The San Antonio Spurs get the number 2 pick. The Philadelphia 76ers get the 3 pick. The Charlotte Hornets get the number 4 pick. And I don't have it in front of me. I'm going off of what I just read. But the Nets ended up getting the 8th pick. And I said I would have partied if the Nets were 5 or 6. I knew they weren't going to be. Alex out in Lakewood, back on the fan. Hello, Alex.
What's up, kid? You know, if the Lakers would, if the Mavericks wouldn't have traded Luka, then they would have been in the playoffs probably, and they wouldn't have got the number one overall.
That's just how the cookie crumbles. Like if they would have kept that team, they would have had a better record in the standings. Obviously, like I said, you can't predict Kyrie getting hurt, but the way that they fell into the play-in and lost in the play-in and were able to do this, like, isn't this back-to-back years now that we have a play-in team get the number one pick? Didn't the Hawks do that last year?
What do you think about Giannis potentially going to Dallas?
I don't think it happens now, but maybe. I know that was a rumored spot out there. There's a lot of rumored spots out there with Giannis. I'm also going to put my hand in the air and say I don't want him in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I don't think he'll go to Brooklyn. Milwaukee's in a better position to win than Brooklyn.
Yeah, and he's in win now mode for sure. He's got to go to a place that they can win now. But a trade is, he doesn't, in a trade, they could send him to his preferred destination. But a trade is about what package the organization wants,
No, a lot of all the odds say that if he gets traded, he's going they say Warriors number one, which is, I think, is crazy. The Bucks aren't trading Giannis to get a 37-year-old Steph Curry or Jimmy Butler.
No. And I saw that too. There, the Warriors talk on Twitter had it's been heavily reported that Golden State ownership has been salivating at the idea of bringing Giannis to the Bay. It's all this Twitter stuff. That's another thing too. Twitter sucks now because you don't know who to believe. You don't know what's true. You don't know who's a credible source. Everybody's in on him. The Nets are salivating to bring Giannis there. The Mavericks are in on Giannis. The Spurs have a good trade package for Giannis.
Spurs and the Mavericks I buy because they could contend with Giannis. Giannis wants to leave because he wants to win. He doesn't want to leave to go to a bigger market.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where KD is going. There's rumors around where KD wants to be. I mean, I even heard the Knicks in the Giannis rumors as I think about the players and picks that are in 2030 something. Yeah, but they're cooked. They're probably gonna have to. Dame is done. Giannis is done. They're literally gonna have to start over.
So if Mikal Bridges went for 5, what does Giannis go for?
Yeah, I know a lot of people like to do that, but that is not the bar. What did Luka go for?
If he would have demanded a trade, then they would have got less. But since he's doing it in this way, I think he's doing it just because he doesn't want the organization drafted him, so he's just.
And he brought that organization a ring. They're gonna do right by him. That's why I said they're gonna try and send him to his preferred destination. It's not animosity. Like when the Nets traded Kyrie, they were not gonna send him to the Lakers. They sent him to Dallas thinking they were doing something, and look how it's gonna work out for Kyrie. He's already been to a finals. Probably get to another one in the next couple of years with Cooper Flag. Still there? Not still there. 888-808-1019 as we are waiting for that ball to go up in the air in Madison Square Garden. There was something up in the air in Sacramento. A holiday weekend, Mother's Day weekend. So a lot of us can't be glued to the TV watching every single inning on Yes Network. A lot of the games I listened to, watched on my phone, listened to, came back, checked the score. What is going on? What happened here? And it was just a wacky weekend. So many random things that you couldn't put your finger on. One thing that I noted, I'm going to a minor league ballpark, Sutter Health Park. It did something to all the guys that are closer to the minor leagues for the New York Yankees. It did something for a guy like Will Warren. Will Warren had a great outing. Will Warren was rolling. He goes 7 1/3, only giving up 4 hits, 7 strikeouts. And I'm like, okay, he's back in a little ballpark. A guy like Yorbit Vivas. Yorbit Vivas had 2 hits at the bottom of the order. JC Escara, a guy that was almost out of baseball. He had 2 hits in that first game, and the Martian landed. Jason Dominguez having a 3-homer game and a grand slam, 7 ribbies out of I don't know, out of nowhere, out of sight, out of outer space. This kid a lot of people were ready to quit on. A lot of people said, "Oh, he shouldn't switch hit." I mean, he hit one from both sides. A lot of people were ready to quit on him because of his fielding. And I think he did have a mistake in the outfield this series. Whatever, you kind of forgive it because of the performance that he had Friday night. Paul Goldschmidt, absolute machine. As I watch Paul Goldschmidt with the bat and the glove, I start to think about next year. He's not retiring this year. Why wouldn't he be interested in coming back? Why wouldn't the Yankees be interested in bringing him back? I think they absolutely will. And then that leads me to Ben Rice, who played first base for a little bit last year. And Ben Rice hit a grand slam out there this weekend. He had a few hits, and we got to see him DH or go from DH to catcher. And I know that tickled a lot of your fancies because I've taken at least 20 calls on how come Ben Rice can't play third? How come he can't play in the outfield? How come he can't catch? And with the Yankees showing you that, I think that is the most realistic position for him. 888-808-1019. I think it is a reality that depending on the situation, the pitcher, the game, like maybe late in games like you saw him, like what if late in games they're playing around with the lineup and the pinch hitting and they want to get Stanton in there or, take out a JC Escara, Austin Wells, whoever it might be to put Rice behind the plate, keep his bat in there. Like if he can catch for a couple innings, really might have something going here. That's another thing. Stanton is on the way back. DJ LeMahieu is with the team in Seattle. It's getting to the point now where we're really into the season. You can't say it's early anymore. Guys are coming back. Guys are starting to really perform and show themselves. Oh, I didn't even mention Judge yet, but it's like you don't really even have to mention Aaron Judge. He's just Aaron Judge. He's in a class of his own, category of his own. He keeps adding to it. And amazing, like how he's just like so dialed in. And this is a take that I had before the season about how he was mocked and ridiculed and how losing the World Series in that fashion had to hurt him, probably break him. How he said, this is something that's going to stick with me forever. I think when he steps onto that field and in that batter's box, he's got all of that on him now. He's got all of that on him. And everybody's saying he's, Mr. May or June and not an October guy. And life obviously changed. He just celebrated his first Mother's Day with his wife. I think Judge is just ultimately super locked and dialed in because, man, this is the year for vindication, for redemption. This is the year to silence all the haters, all the critics, all the skeptics, all the people that mock the Yankees. Like, if Judge can keep this up, he's winning another MVP. And if he can continue doing it into the postseason, like, that's going to be enough. The Yankees have a deep lineup. The Yankees are going to figure out the pitching. That's another thing. We see Ryan Yarbrough get a start. No update really on Marcus Stroman. I don't know where Marcus Stroman is in the world or what he's doing, but they're not planning on bringing him back anytime soon. And Will Warren shows us, hey, I want to be here. I deserve to be here. Like, it was an interesting weekend in Sacramento for the Yankees. We'll get to the Yankees talk in a second, but from Aaron Judge, the captain, the king of New York, to the other captain, the king of New York, Jalen Brunson, it is now time for Brunson to put his cape on. This game is about to start. Knicks fans, call me up. If you need somebody to hold your hand, we'll hold your hand. We'll all watch the start of this game together. 888-808-1019. John is in Oxford, Connecticut. What's up, John?
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for taking the call. Listen, your predecessor on the radio and many people are saying that this is like, and they're around your age, the most talented Knicks team they've ever seen.
Loogie said that?
Including for these guys, the 90s. Do you agree with that sentiment?
I think when they say talent, I think they're taking the individual players and they're looking at the back of the baseball card and they're like, they're saying that these individuals together, they're not talking about the most talented team because the most talented team would be a team that has gotten the furthest, right? I got to remind people, this is the second round. And I don't mean to say it with such a stern voice, but I know we were celebrating and everybody was joyous and happy. But in all reality, this is the second round where they've been knocked out for 3 out of the last 4 years.
Team game. And right. And when you compare those teams to this team, that was a different game. So a guy back then who's scoring 12 points in a game and grabbing 8.5 rebounds and 4 assists, he equals a guy who's getting 18 points a game over 20 points a game today with lesser rebounds and assists. I'm talking about Mason primarily to Anunoby. That's the thing that I don't really like. You know, I see Brunson. I can kind of see where you talk about Towns. But I don't see the talent in this group where you degrade the guys from the past. Those were quality players. They made a really great team together.
Yeah. You know what it is, John? Too many nights these talented guys are no-shows. Too many nights there's like, well, where was OG? Or where was Mikal Bridges? Like, they're not collectively all there. Like, Brunson, for the most part, you can count on.
Tap in the face when you say they're the most talented team you ever said?
I think it's slightly disrespectful to the teams that have gotten to the Eastern Conference Finals and that 90s Knicks team that they were in it every single year. This team's got to get past the second round. They're on their way to doing it, but also this is year one of this group. This is the first go at it with Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns. Really, like, with this group. Yeah, I was just about to say, really, with this group, they have a 2 to 3 year window, and I count this as year one. Like, in 2 to 3 years from now, it is over. So all of the glazing, all of the propping them up as the most talented Knicks team ever, like that, a lot of that is on paper. A lot of that is social media. A lot of that is recency bias and just going off of like what they did. Like OG Anunoby won a championship with the Toronto Raptors. That's got nothing to do with this. Mikal Bridges played in a finals with the Phoenix Suns. It's got nothing to do with Karl Anthony Towns was just with the Timberwolves in the playoffs. He was a top pick. He came out of Kentucky. He's the greatest big man shooter, whatever. So what? Like,
I'm good. We're going there. Is he soft?
I don't think he's soft. I just think
feeling is he has no ups. If he posterized people and didn't get posterized, I don't think he would have his issue. He has no ups. He goes down low, and he's a 7-foot guy who settles for a layup.
Yeah, it's just his style of play, and it's just the way he goes about it. But he can get after him in the paint. He can shoot the three. I won't call him soft. Thanks for the call, John. I won't call him soft. He got a little bit of a twang in his voice when he gets fouled and when he has some interviews. But I won't call him soft. I've seen him get tough with Draymond. I've seen him get tough this year with the Pistons. I've seen him talk trash a little bit, and here we are. This is a big game because Timothée Chalamet brought Kylie Jenner. They got Kylie Jenner on the screen courtside. He brought his girl. He actually didn't leave his girl. I appreciate this guy as a Knicks fan because he tells his girl, nah, chill. I'm about to go watch the game. Tonight, he's like, all right, you can come. That might be bad luck, though. All right, we got a break. 888-808-1019. That ball is about to go up in the air. Scott Foster, Karl Anthony Towns, Al Horford in 3, 2, 1. Carlos, what up, yo? Chat, I'm here. You said she's gonna be with the Goons 203. Yeah, but that won't, that's better. That's better, I'm gonna come over to 203. I'm gonna make sure everybody's keeping it, copacetic, everybody cool. Cause you know how these games get. It's amateur hour a lot. It brings out the casuals. And when I mean casuals, I mean like, I don't care about your baseball knowledge. I'm talking about the casual fans that want to come to a couple games a year. Bang! Derek White with a 3. Casual fans that want to come out to a couple games a year, and they really don't know the vibes. They come out and they don't know how to act. They get liquored up. They start, with their mouth, profanity, talking wild, falling on people, disrespecting people. Like, 203 is a family, and there's a lot of respect in the area, and we all kind of look out for each other, everybody that knows each other. So, yeah. Yeah, it is what it is, man. Let me see here. Knicks down 5-0. Literally every team that tank dropped in the line. Yeah. Look at how they rigged this, bruh. Every team that tanked dropped in the lottery. Every team that lost games for a stretch of time. But Dallas, San Antonio, Philadelphia, all 3 teams that were competitive for a while but then had injuries, They were rewarded. Mets down 1-0. Let's pull some of the Mets box scores from the weekend up, and also chat Mets quickly. Lindor, Alonso, Vientos, Brett Beatty, Luis Torrens. Juan Soto is a combined. Let me see if I can go to the game today. I was going to say he's a combined 0 for 9 in the last 2 games. Ew, they won't guard anybody. Why is Derek White wide open? It's too easy. They don't want to guard him. Bro, I'm about to tell you, says right now before I go home, they're cooked. If they keep letting the Celtics do this, it's wraps, Brody. It's wraps. It's wraps. Cool for the city of Dallas basketball. Yes. I'm going to talk about that too. I'm going to say this again when I get on air because we got some calls for, people want to talk about the Nets. The NBA doesn't want a fan base abandoning their team over a GM's decision. Man, this rallies the troops again. This gets everybody energized again. They needed it. Having Paige Beckers. Yes, Paige Beckers from UConn and now Cooper Flagg. Yeah, what? WNBA draft? I don't pay close attention, but I do know the Wings drafted and she didn't want to go to, I forget who was the projected pick. She didn't want to go there, and it ended up going her way. Let's see. Let's go, Knicks. But they gotta go. Like, they gotta go defend the 3, defend the perimeter. They gotta go put a hand in Derek White's face. They gotta go. They gotta have urgency. Like, bro, they're about to. I'm gonna just leave it alone, yo. I'm gonna go home. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Spurs were close. They would have been. Yeah. Get out by 55. Okay. Keith McPherson on the fan quickly till 9 o'clock. Don't worry. About an hour left. 888-808-1019. I'll get right out of the way. And then Yankees baseball live from T-Mobile Ballpark out in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle. Dave Sims back on the call. Shout out to Dave, man. Let me go and give Dave a little bit of props before we get back to the basketball conversation and the Yankees and maybe a little bit of Mets. Mets are down 1-0 right now. Paul Skeens on the mound. So after they pass a test beating the Cubs at home this weekend, here's another test against the NL Rookie of the Year. But yeah, my guy Dave Sims when I went out to Seattle for the 2023 MLB All-Star game, shout out to the Players Alliance who reached out to WFAN to have me come out there and interview people and see how they do things. They put me up in the hotel, flew me out. It was an amazing experience. One I'll never forget specifically because I had paid my way a lot of times to go to the All-Star game. And if you remember that year, I was saying, I'm not going this year. I just had my son. He's really young and, we don't have the money to throw to me going on a trip. And here comes the Players Alliance. So they sent me out to Seattle. I'd never been to the state of Washington before, but I knew I would get to rendezvous with one Dave Sims, who, when I first got to the fan, was someone who DM'd me and just gave me words of support and told me, hey, I used to do that nighttime show back in, the late 80s when you were born. And so, me being a sports fan, knowing who Dave Sims is and all the different sports and games he's called and how long he's been in the game, man, I was just pumped to see him in real life, shake his hand, meet him. And that happened for me at the Players Alliance kind of, gala ball, I don't know, party that they had. Beautiful venue on the water out in Seattle. It is amazing out there if you've never been. The air is just crisp out there, pine trees. And, Dave went out there a weekend early, his first year doing the Yankees, but a homecoming of sorts going back to Seattle where he had called games for X amount of years for the Mariners. He's got friends, family out there in the area, and it's a beautiful area. There's a lot to do, especially if you want to ride out a little bit. And people may wonder why Dave took off a series. Well, how about the fact that last year, Emmanuel Barbari, who did a great job this weekend, he got his feet wet, got an opportunity, and Justin Shackle got an opportunity to do that. Young guys who had a ton of promise and hope that maybe they would be the next guys. And then obviously when Dave gets the spot, it's like, okay, fellas, not quite yet, but you'll get to pinch hit. So E-Man got to pinch hit, and Emmanuel is a pro's pro. He's great. I'm very proud of him. He's a friend of mine. I love when he gets the opportunity to do his thing. He did a great job this weekend. There was a lot of runs scored. And then Justin Shackle was on the Yes Network with Jeff Nelson. They're both friends of mine. They're both great. I've worked with both of them. So Dave, stepped aside, let the young guys rock. And, he got to see some friends and family for the weekend. And it's all good. He didn't have to go to Sutter Health Park in Sacramento. And now he'll be right back with the team in Seattle. No problems with that. No problems with that at age 72. Getting a little bit of a break for the marathon and the long run. No harm, no foul. 888-808-1019. Now, speaking of no harm, no foul, I don't think the Knicks want to foul anybody. There's been just some uncontested threes right away. Derek White can't just stay open. He's going to shoot. Right now, it is 16-6. Boston Celtics over the Knicks. And as I pull the box score up, I can guarantee you there's already been 3 made threes, 4 made threes by the Celtics. They're just doing what they do. So when we come back, more of your calls. I see some Nets fans, or at least people that want to weigh in on the Nets getting the 8th overall pick, want to talk on the fan. And I do have some more conspiracy theories and some thoughts. Some people in my chat were weighing in on, the Dallas Mavericks and the Dallas Wings, the city of Dallas winning both the WNBA and NBA lottery. Keith McPherson on the fan. 1 hour left. Call me up. We'll be right back. And one. That's a charge. Let me get this up here. What did I say? They had at least 3 made threes. Probably 4 by now. Yeah, they're shooting 50%, 4 threes. 4 out of 8.
8 straight points for the Knicks.
They're making a little bit of a run.
Well, they got,
Okay, the Knicks are making a little bit of a run, folks. I see your Let's Go Knicks in the chat. Yeah, so Anthony, that was some of the long format content I do for my YouTube channel. The last time I did a shoot was February. It was time to do another one. So stay tuned on the YouTube. Some of you are watching on YouTube, but if you go to my videos and not my lives, you'll see some of the long form content. And I needed to shoot some more to bank on that. Also, I was shooting some like influencer marketing stuff. I had a company send me some shoes. Somebody sent me a bag. Somebody sent me some caffeine powder. So you'll see that on my Instagram as well. That was just a small sneak peek and really just a way for me to promo smart scaling systems, the young guys that do my videography and photography work. They're from the shore area. They're young hustlers. They're really good at what they do. Boston killing the Knicks. I don't know. They came out hot, but now the Knicks are down too. So can the Knicks take a lead? That would be nice, right? See the Knicks take a lead in the beginning of the game. I've always liked Dave Sims. He's a class act for sure. Absolutely. I'm going to continue to throw flowers his way when we get back, because what I didn't add was when I got to meet Dave at the I gotta pull up what that actually was with the Players Alliance. He was honored. So like when I was in Seattle doing that event with the Players Alliance, he was one of the guests they honored. And I mean, they also honored Ken Griffey Jr. and it was just great. He didn't have to give me the time that he gave me for my interview with him, but that was the first time I ever seen him in real life. He gave me plenty of time. So that kind of made me look good. And then he went around telling people, yeah, this guy's doing the night shift at WFAN. I did the WNBC night shift in like the late 80s. So we had that in common. Trying to find, there's so many posts on my Instagram. This is now going back to the summer of 2023 when I was out there. It was a long time ago, but Dave was treated like a king in Seattle from everything that I could see. And like I said, him kind of patting me on the back and spending some time with me kind of gave me some clout tokens for use at that party. What was it called? Game changer celebration. Yeah. This is me with Pedro Martinez. Pedro came and gave me some convo too.
Good evening at 8 o'clock. This is Red Chapman. The support is brought to you by ServPro Cleanup, Restoration, and Construction. Visit ServPro.com. Game 4 at the Garden, and it had a familiar start with the Celtics racing out to a 16-6 lead, hitting 5 of their first 6 shots. Derek White, 3 of 3 from three-point range. But the Knicks went on an 11-0 run and took the lead momentarily, but have now fallen behind as White has just hit another three-pointer. It's Boston on top, 19-17, just under 5 minutes left in the opening quarter in a raucous Madison Square Garden. The Nets did not hit the jackpot in the lottery, getting the 8th pick overall in the upcoming draft. The Mavericks, with less than a 2% chance to win it, did so. After the wild season they had, they will now have the option of taking Duke's Cooper Flag. The Yankees are in Seattle for the first of 3 against the Mariners tonight. Coverage on the Fan at 9 o'clock. Right now at Citi Field, the Mets trail the Pirates 1-0 in the 4th. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa with a solo home run to open the scoring. The Jets have signed Aaron Smith. Only second-round pick Mason Taylor is unsigned among the draft picks. And that's what's happening. I'm Rich Jackson. All right, you. I'll see you later. There you go, Rosenberg.
Brooklyn. Where Brooklyn at? Just kidding. Super quiet for the Nets right now, but it is what it is. We're going to get into it. Keith McPherson on the Fan, 888-808-1019. I said we had some Nets fans on the line, and we got to go to them. The Knicks had an 8-0 run. They got the lead, but it was so short-lived. It was a matter of seconds until the Celtics came back. Splash. Took the lead right back, but at least you're getting the look and the energy out of the New York Knicks that they absolutely need. Don't go down by a lot of points. Stick with them. I mean, early on here, like Derek White is 4 for 4. Imagine you bet Derek White's made threes tonight. He's got 4. He's made all 4 that he shot. He's probably going for 8 tonight. Might be able to still get on that bet now. As far as the Knicks are concerned, they have 3 players in their starting lineup with 5. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. Speaking of Mikal Bridges, we used to call him Brooklyn Bridges. Again, if the Knicks do not survive this second round, the conversation shifts back to that transaction. And yeah, in Knicks fans' minds, Mikal Bridges is absolutely worth the trade in those picks. But in Nets fans' minds, they're going to say, yeah, he balled for the first 2 games of the second round. What does that matter? Let's go to Jack in Rockaway, Queens on the Fan next. What's up, Jack?
There's no other choice.
I know it. You know it. Why get your hopes up?
You know what? It's really March. It comes down. We had one job to do this year. One job to lose. All these picks that we have these 27 second round picks for the next 30 years, and they mean nothing. The 25th and 26th pick this year really don't mean nothing. If they would have beat the Knicks the last game, they would have dropped the Knicks pick by 5 picks. We would have 21 to 26 picks. We chose to keep Cam Johnson. We chose to keep Claxton. And this is the worst part of it is we traded. We got fleeced with Philly. I mean, a year after the contract, they got more than we got from. We took Ben Simmons.
Would have never done it.
Ben Simmons 3-year contract of $40 million a year, and we got one stinking protected top 8 pick from Philly, and they got 2 number 1 picks, an unprotected the Clippers or future that was going to be incredible, and a pick swap. So we got.
Oh, but we got Andre Drummond and Seth Curry, even deal, right?
Yeah, and we got even more fleece on this Houston deal because we all these picks that we acquired, these future Phoenix picks and future Dallas 1 pick, because we didn't want to get the Lakers 2 number 1 picks unprotected because that's what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So we took a crappy Dallas pick. Luckily, and then we gave that to Houston as a swap. We gave Philly stuff. Our picks are going to be, unless the Knicks really severely tank.
Let's make sure we blame Joseph Tsai. Let's blame the owner Joe Tsai as well as Sean Marks because he was influencing him, and he keeps him employed.
I don't get it. And I just want one other comment on this thing. I don't want to go for Giannis, even though I'm a suffering that Giannis has been out of the first round when he was 28. When he was 29, and when he was 30. He's got 12 years of vigor. I mean, the guy's one of the best athletes that the NBA has ever seen. But again, he's 30, and your ligaments, your ACLs, your calves, Achilles, they don't last. And
yeah, learn. We got to learn from our own mistakes. Build your own. Don't go chasing the superstars over the hill. Over 30 years old. Thanks for the call, Jack. Jack knows. He's lived it. I could tell in his voice. Like. He started off, we're cursed. Say, you know that. We know that. I'm not even going to front about it. The Nets have brought me up to highs just to drop me down on my head as a kid, as a young man, and as a grown man. So now I'm at the point now I just don't. Why would I? Don't do it. Learn. Fool me can't fool me again. And then it's funny. You mentioned the tanking. The Nets didn't know if they were going to tank, if they were going to go for it. Are they winning? Are they competing? There were too many cooks in the kitchen. You had a head coach that was out there fighting the referees and fighting other players for his job. Understood. In the NBA, you could get fired after a year, especially with the Nets and looking at how many coaches they've had. But then you had some players that were out there some nights going for it, some nights just getting all-time smoke. That Clippers game, I'll never forget watching that Clippers game. I'm like, why am I watching them play the Clippers out west? I don't even have to be on the radio after this. I can go to sleep. They got smoked. It was something ridiculous. They lost by like 67 points. So anyway, where I'm getting with the Nets is then they made a little bit of a run where we were thinking about them making the play-in. For what? It wouldn't have mattered, because even if they'd gotten a play and they would have lost, or if they did play themselves into the playoffs, they would have made history because they would have been swept out of the first round again. They got swept by the Celtics, swept by the Sixers. So I'm looking at NBA Twitter right now, and shout out to Robin Lundberg. He did a season of Talking Nets with me. He said tanking is no longer a viable option in the NBA. And when you actually look at how it shook out, you have to say conspiracy. You have to say the NBA is holding the pen and writing the script, because the top 3 teams were all contenders until their star players suffered injury. I mean, even in the case of the Dallas Mavericks, right? Luka got traded, but they were going to be in it with Kyrie. Once Kyrie got hurt and Anthony Davis was day-to-day, they didn't have a shot. Oh, OG just missed a point-blank dunk. But the Knicks are holding. There's another lead, 26-25 Knicks with 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. This first quarter is looking like how you would want it to look in a game that the Knicks have to have. 888-808-1019. So last thing about the Nets, and we'll take another Nets call. Eric out in Brooklyn, you're on the on-deck circle. You're about to hit in a minute. Tankathon.com put it up, and the Brooklyn Way on Twitter said literally every team that tanked dropped in the lottery. If you tanked, you went backwards from where you were projected. But the teams that shot up, Dallas, San Antonio, Philly. Dallas with Luka and Kyrie, or let's say Kyrie and AD. San Antonio with Wemby and Chris Paul. And then Philly with Embiid and Paul George and Maxey. Like, once they fell out of it, those teams shouldn't be able to beat. But you know what? You give them, it's just great how it works, right? Because now it's like, again, and we talk about this in the NFL, tanking doesn't guarantee you anything. But again, in the NBA, losing all those games tanking like the Wizards did, it didn't get you anywhere. It didn't get you those top 3 picks. So right now you're looking at Dallas taking Cooper Flag, maybe San Antonio takes Dylan Harper, and then Philadelphia takes Ace Bailey, and the rich get richer once they get healthier. 888-808-1019. Eric is out in Brooklyn on the Fan. What's up, Eric?
Keith, man, I'm a big Nets fan. I came into this season. We got 4 first-round picks. Like, it's going to be great. It's a super deep draft. And I'm just like, I'm sitting on hold for this. I find myself believing the craziest stuff, man. Like, it's rigged, right? What chance that Dallas gets that pick?
Yeah, I can't say anything else. And you know what it is, Eric? And like, you and I know this, and basketball fans know this. We've seen them veto trades. We've seen them maneuver things. We've seen things go on that is just like, that raise your eyebrow. When you saw them bring a casket to American Airlines Center where the Dallas Mavericks play, when you saw their fans petitioning, when you saw their fans leaving the games, when you saw how bad it got after the Luka trade, the NBA had to do something about it, because the NBA does not want to lose that Dallas market. That is one of the larger markets. The NBA just made sure that ball went to number 1, Dallas, so they can go and get their fan base re-energized, because Cooper Flag is going to be playing for them next fall. It's crazy.
So I think it's rigged, but I'm almost like more mad about the Spurs. My wife is a big Spurs fan, and she's had it so good for so long. Number 2 now. Like, think of a franchise where everything that can go right does go right over and over and over again. And it's such a small market. San Antonio, what is the incentive to keep throwing in their way? But I think they're going to take that second round pick, or that second overall pick. They're going to trade it to get Giannis. They don't need Ace Bailey or Dylan Harper. Like, they're just going to get Giannis.
Why not?
Like,
because they have Stephen Castle. They have Castle, who was the rookie of the year too. The rich only get richer.
The rich only get richer, and I don't even like. What is the point of the Nets? I don't know. I find myself wondering, like, are you familiar with the myth of Sisyphus? Guy who has betrayed Zeus and is forced to roll a rock up the hill for the rest of eternity in the underworld. And then once he reaches the top, the rock rolls all the way back down. And he has to do it over and over.
Oh, man. That's it. Spot on assessment, comparison, analogy. Thanks for the call, Eric. It sucks. The Nets push that rock up and they get it going, and you think they have something with Darren Williams and Brooke Lopez and Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, and the Rock goes right back down. And then they push the Rock up again with Kenny Atkinson. And all of a sudden you got a team with D'Lo and Karis LeVert and Joey Buckets and Jared Allen and Spencer Dinwiddie and those guys. And you're like, all right, Jared Dudley getting into some back and forth. And then, nope, the Rock comes right back down. They get the gentleman sweep from the Sixers. But then you're like, okay, whatever. That summer, they're able to get the clean sweep. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Jordan. Here come the Brooklyn Nets. While all the Knicks fans had no idea they would have this team, all they could do was hate on KD, hate on Kyrie, hate on the Nets. Why would you choose the Nets? Nobody's a Nets fan. They're whack. Brooklyn is whack. They should have stayed in Jersey. And then the Nets get greedy. They kick Kenny Atkinson to the curb, coach of the year this year. And the Nets put Steve Nash in the driver's seat because they think that that's going to work, right? First-time head coach. Oh, he was a former MVP. He'll get KD and Kyrie to listen to him. And then everything happens from the pandemic and the COVID shot to the big three. And Harden don't really like it here. Harden likes to be out in Vegas. This is too far from Houston and the nightclubs. And, it just doesn't happen, right? This big three that the Nets put together was all in people's minds, right, on paper. Similar to this Knicks team, how talented this Knicks team is. And it's like, yeah, like individually putting them together, they're very talented, but they have to come together on the floor and get it done. The universe wasn't ready for that big three. Hamstring, strain, pull. Harden is champing it out, playing through it. Kyrie, ankle, boom, he's out. And then KD steps on the line. You guys know what happened. And then the ball rolls right back down. They're never able to get there. And now you're watching a Nets team this year that was supposed to tank and get Cooper flagged. They get the 8th overall pick. So where are they next year? They're going to be bottom of the East, but you can't tank again. They're going to try and compete for the 8th, 9th spot next year.
I think they're going to have to go for Giannis, and even just because there's no other other option.
So the Nets have this thing on YouTube. It's called Scout, I believe, and I just started watching it. I actually have it in my watch later, and the whole premise they're talking about, building their own, and they're giving you an inside look at the front office and what they're doing, and they're basically selling us on like, we're not going to make those mistakes again. And honestly, Sean Marks can't afford to. This is his last time to build this thing and do this thing right.
And even I believe it was Brian Lewis of the Post who had the article today saying the Nets are ready to pounce if Giannis is available.
I would say it's Nets for clicks, because you know what they do, Paul? It's New York. They sell the market. There's one basketball team you really want to play for in New York, and they're playing right now, and the Celtics have gone on another run. It's 39-30, though. They sell the market. Giannis is walking around Midtown with his wife and his baby in a stroller, so they sell the market. But I don't think that the Nets need to go get Giannis. I don't see it. I don't want it.
That offseason, though, is going to be interesting because now you have a really good coach. Now, listen, they had a really good coach in Atkinson last time, and it's clear that Durant got him fired. Durant wanted Steve Nash in there. Durant put Steve Nash in there. So people said the Nets is that Kevin Durant didn't like Kenny Atkinson.
They all pushed him out. Man, Kyrie got on KD's podcast and said, we don't need a coach. Any night, any of us could be the coach. And I'm like, are you insane?
Because Steve Nash wasn't a coach, and it's proven that he hasn't got another job since.
You need a coach in the NBA. Somebody's got to call the timeouts. Somebody's got to run film. Somebody's got to have strategy in game. Somebody's got to draw up a play. Somebody's got to tell you what to do on the inbound. When you're in the heat of the moment, I don't care who you are. And these guys are idiots. If KD signed the extension, he should have still been in Brooklyn. If they would have paid Kyrie and found a way to keep them two, not even Harden, they could be playing in the Eastern Conference semi. Okay, here we go. The Knicks are on a run. They could be in the semifinals right now. The Knicks are battling. It's 39-33 in the second quarter, 10.5 minutes to go. Let me take another Knicks call. They're doing what you want them to do. They're not getting blown out. They're not giving up a large lead. They're taking the punches. If this is a boxing match, the Celtics have got off a couple right hooks, but the Knicks have returned serve and hit them back, and they're not falling yet. They look good. So that's all you can ask for, right? And if they can keep it close, you know what happens late in the game. So just don't let these guys get on a big run. Let's go to Dr. Noel in Tuxedo, New York. What's up, Doc?
What's up, Chris? This is just, Keith, sorry about that.
All good. I wasn't even going to say anything.
This Knicks team will certainly drive you crazy. I was like, looked close, and now they extended the lead, and now they're close again. This team just drives you crazy.
And it's a playoff, so your emotions are already all over the place. You're starting to think the worst, but you also still have to keep the best in mind. Like if they take this game, they go to Boston, and it's a closeout game. It's an elimination game.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I find myself even in the first series, just like turning the TV off because I don't want to watch it, and then I got to turn it back on, but I haven't recorded, so I get to watch the whole thing, and I'm not as exacerbated, or my emotions are not going that crazy because I'm not watching it live.
Yeah, and it's a Monday night. You might not want to put back too many beers or shots or anything. You got to get through this one sober.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out if I could.
Yes, sir.
Is that all right with you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give a shout out to my nephew, Drew Lipkin. His band, Laundry Day, is actually playing halftime tonight.
Oh, wow. What a stage for them to get.
Yeah, they actually played it during the regular season. They had so much fun, and they wanted them around, so they actually they asked them back to do it again.
Well, that's amazing. Thanks for the call, Doc. 888-808-1019. What an opportunity to get to perform Madison Square Garden halftime in front of stars, in front of entertainers. My guy, Gary V, courtside. I got to get back with Gary. I think I gotta hit Gary's guy, Tyler. I'll get back into the office with Gary V and those guys, see what they're up to. They're Knicks fans. We don't, when you're not a Knicks fan, you're like an outsider. When you don't get down with all the Knicks tape, Knicks Nation, Knicks, I'm like, I mean, I could talk about the Knicks, but like my heart is not in this game or this series right now. It doesn't mean anything to me. I would like to see them beat the Celtics, but if they lose to the Celtics, it'll just be as I expected. Karl Anthony Towns battling. It's a game, folks. I'm running out of time. When we come back, I'll lean more into the Yankees and the Mets. I mean, the Mets are playing. It's still 1-0 over there. But yeah, I do want to give credit to some folks. 1-1. I do want to give some credit to some of the Mets players, and then continue to sing the praises of from the top down, the owner, the president of baseball operations, and the manager. Before we get to the Subway Series, then there's no nice talk. There's no compliments. It's on. Keith McPherson on the Fan. I will be right back. I need the volume. Horford, bangarang. Pritchard is nice. Off the dribble. One hand lay off the spin and the dribble. All right. Anthony in the chat going for the most part. And I'm here. 888-808-1019 if you want to call in. If you're on YouTube, hit like. Knicks just have to make it happen. They need to keep pressure on the Celtics defensively. They're keeping it close. Do professional athletes really tank? You have to have dignity when you're a professional player. They check out. I don't think if you're on the floor competing, definitely in football, you don't tank. Because like I've talked about this a bunch with the Giants. Like you go out there playing to lose or thinking you're going to lose, you're going to get hurt. You got to go full tilt. Every play's got to be like 100%. But organizations tank. Players don't tank. Organizations do. Yeah, Knicks losing a little momentum again because like they're not better than the Celtics. Like That's ultimately what it comes down to. They can do this for a little while. This is what the Celtics do. And the Celtics, if you're looking at the box score here, let me go back to the box score. The Celtics are starting to get action from their bench. Kristaps Porzingis has 3, Peyton Pritchard has 5. Kristaps played 6 minutes, Peyton Pritchard has 8. Let's see, the Knicks bench has 5 points, Mitchell Robinson 2, Deuce McBride a 3. But as they start to go to that bench and they start to give you different looks, it's tough. Now, even if you look at the 3-point shot, I told y'all Derek White is a perfect 4 for 4. Tatum's got 3. Al Horford's hit 1. Jaylen Brown's got 2. Peyton Pritchard's got 2 off the bench. Like, they're going to shoot the 3. And when you look at the team stats, they are shooting 10 of 16. That's 62.5% from deep. They're never going to, I don't think they're ever going to have back-to-back performances like they had 25% from 3 for any stretch. That was like 2 aberrations, if you can have 2 aberrations. It was like, I don't know. Even now, when I think back to it, how those games were so similar to each other, it's like, how? This is a team that historically has shot and made the most threes. They have everybody in their starting 5 and bench can shoot.
Are you still on the air?
Oh, I'm on a live stream. We're coming back in 2 minutes for the.
I wasn't sure if you were still doing that. So.
Yeah, I'm still running the live. They can see me, but I'm not on WFAN airwaves.
No, I know.
Coming up.
I wasn't sure if anybody.
And you're not interrupting. They can't even hear you or see you. They know I'm talking to you now. The legendary Rich Ackerman.
You know Gary V.
Google him. And I know Gary V. Yeah. Gary V, last year at Fanatics Fest, I've always been a fan of him. Last year at Fanatics Fest, he walks up and asks if he can join. He's like, is this WFAN live? He asked if he could join. He comes, he sits down next to me. I'm like, oh my God, big sports guy. Said he loves the fan.
I want to meet somebody that works.
Okay, I can connect you. I know a few guys. Okay. Juan Soto is a combined 0 for 10 going back to Saturday. Monday night on the Fan in New York, you're a nighttime host, Keith McPherson, watching the Knicks. The Boston Celtics lead 48-35. I was just talking to Rich Ackerman. I'm like, the Knicks will go on a little bit of a run. They'll take a lead. They can't hold it for long. And then the Celtics will just hit them with a barrage of threes and moves and plays. And it's just like, it's just starting to look like, as Drew Holiday shoots a stupid 3, it's just starting to look like the Celtics have gotten their groove back. And as I looked at the box score and the shooting before that shot, they were 10 of 16 from 3, shooting 62.5%. Now they're 10 of 17, shooting 58.8%. And what was the key to victory? One of the main keys to victory for the Knicks in games 1 and 2 was the Celtics shooting 25%. They missed a record amount of threes in the first game, and then they came back in the second game and missed the same amount percentage-wise. What are the chances that happens again? They're very small. Okay, Deuce McBride. Now the Knicks are on another run, 48-42. And you got to get points from the bench. But ultimately, where I'm at is like, it is going to take everything for the Knicks. And if the Celtics just play their regular game, if the Celtics just do what they regularly do and don't blow a 20-point lead, they'll handle business here and get back to their building where they owe their fans a win. 888-808-1019. The Yankees tonight will play in Seattle. And when I was telling my Dave Sims story, I forgot to mention, I was trying to get the name of what it was. It was the Game Changers event. I got to interview CC Sabathia. I got to interview Curtis Granderson. I got to interview Pedro Martinez, Adam Jones. And then I went back to my Instagram. And yes, Dave Sims gave me a moment of his time. This is July 16th, 2023. So this is before I knew he would be the Yankee broadcaster. This is before I, got to see him as many times as I've seen him now, been around him now. And like I said, he was gracious. He was professional. And, this past weekend, he was on a little bit of a break. That flight out there to Seattle or Sacramento is a long flight. Like I said, bro is 72 years old, and he was tapping in with the people in Seattle a weekend leading into this Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night series. And good. I know John, as John Sterling got older, there were some trips that he did not take, whether they were West Coast trips or they were, lower ranked teams in Major League Baseball. You just kind of start to pick and choose. Even a couple years back, obviously John wrapped up last year, but a couple years back it started where we were getting, fill-ins, whether it was Shackle or Emmanuel or whomever. So yeah, just trying to give Dave some love. I'm sure he's going to be right back in his seat doing his thing tonight, 9:40, and you can listen to it right here on the Fan. The Yankees will put Clark Schmidt on the mound, and Emerson Hancock will toe the slab out there in Seattle. Great ballpark, amazing ballpark. Honestly, I forget what they call their legends, but it's beautiful. It's so nice, and since they're in the Pacific Northwest, there's an emphasis on seafood, and you can see just the shrimp and the crab legs and the oysters and the sushi. I'm like, this is nice. I love their ballpark too, because you can see when you go all the way up to the top, you can see the coast, but then you also can see the city. It's a great city. I remember that weekend they thought they were going to try and entice Shohei Ohtani to sign there. Yeah, right. Not for $700 million. But for $765 million, the Mets signed Juan Soto. And Juan Soto, going back to Saturday, is a combined 0-4-10. Oh, make that 0-4-11. As I'm keeping an eye on the box score here, Juan Soto just struck out. I don't. I'm just this is update. This is WFN. People need to be informed. Somebody might be watching the Knicks or working, wondering, hey, what's going on in the Met game? You notice how I pivoted, right? So Juan Soto lined out earlier. He had the strikeout. Yeah, Juan Soto is a combined 0-4-11 going back to Saturday, but no biggie. No biggie. You got Brett Beatty. You got Mark Viento, Swaggy V. Well done by you. How do you leave the Yankees after John Sterling gives you that kind of call? I was watching a Story of My Number. Shout out to Gracie Cashman and the Yes Network. I was watching Story of My Number over the weekend, and Nick Swisher reminded me that when he had his home run call, John Sterling started off with he's old Saint Nick. And Swisher talked to Sterling. He's like, come on, man, that's not my style. Old Saint Nick, like Santa Claus. And then, back then in the, I think late 2000s, that song by Fergie, Fergalicious. It's ha Fergalicious. That was out. Fergalicious definition. So John Sterling came up with a new one for Nick Swisher. And he said, Nick Swisher goes deep. He's Swishalicious. It cracked me up. Out of the whole show, I'm like, that part tickled me the most. John is 101. We didn't deserve John Sterling. There'll never be another. I got to hit up John. I got to see if John will come to the ballpark, or if I could rendezvous with John somewhere. But anyway, I was trying to give some credit to the Mets. and Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos and guys like Luis Torrens and even Jeff McNeil, who today, has handled the scoring for the Mets. As they only have one run on the board here off a McNeil double. When the team is as good as this Mets team has been to start the season, especially at home, it does kind of shield guys. But I know fans get impatient with guys like Brett Beatty or Jeff McNeil. But I just look at the Mets as they have so many hitters. And then they also have the top tier hitters. How good has Lindor been at home? Ridiculous. No more slow April. No more slow start. I saw SNY Mets put out Francisco Lindor at Citi Field this season in 19 games. He's got a 408 average, 8 homers, 15 RBI, 19 runs, 3 stolen bases, a 1210 OPS. So he's Aaron Judge at home. Lindor is going crazy at home. Go ahead and make him the captain. I don't know when they need the ceremony for that to be, but they should go ahead and get that done. And when I look at the Mets pitching, guys like Clay Holmes, I had no idea Clay Holmes was going to be what Clay Holmes is. As the Cubs come to town as one of the best scoring offenses in baseball, and there was this graphic that came out not too long ago, like 2 weeks ago, about how the Cubs had faced so many teams over 500 and how the Mets had faced so many teams under 500. It was almost in a way saying the quality of opponent, makes the Cubs a better team with their record, and was kind of poking holes into the Mets record. But the Mets went toe-to-toe with them. Clay Holmes pitching on Clay Holmes hockey jersey night. They take the series from the Cubs, and a guy like Griffin Canning, it's it doesn't make sense. It does make sense though, because in this pitching lab, anybody can be an ace. 888-808-1019. Griffin Canning is one of the most surprising or shocking stories of the year. I'm not surprised by the bullpen being good. I knew that was a focus last year with Stearns, how he tweaked that bullpen and kept tweaking it until it got good. Obviously, you've had some injuries in the bullpen, but you can count on guys like Reed Garrett and Stanek. He had some bumps in the road, but he's back. Even Max Kranick, he'll come back around. I know he gave up a couple runs the other day, but Jose Buto back, Dednil Nunez back. This thing is fluid and evolving. And as I say that, OG Anunoby knocks down a 3. It's 52-47 with 4 minutes to go in the half. The Knicks gotta close this to if they can close this to a 1 or 2, a 1 possession game at half, that's a win.
So when you keep that in mind and stuff, and what Knicks fans have to realize is that they should be down 3-0 in this series. Boston never blows 2 20-point leads. Now again, results matter. You don't really want to be results oriented, but in this case, in the playoffs, results matter. They got the win, but in theory, they should be down 3-0. So keep that in mind. Defend your home court tonight. See if you can bounce back in the second half here. And let's go.
Mikal Bridges for 3. So Bridges misses after Brunson missed from 3. This is a tough swing right here because a bucket here puts up the Celtics by 10. Ooh, good take. And then Kristaps with the putback and Mitch with the foul. They're about to take a look at that. Now that I have you, how do you feel? I mean, you got Sean Manaea coming back, Paul Blackburn, Frankie Montas. The rich are only going to get richer. Steve Cohen, like I said, I got to give props to Steve Cohen, David Stearns, Carlos Mendoza. This is a product of all the decisions and all the things that they've done. And I love it because, I remember just a couple years ago, the Mets and the Yankees were at the top of the National League and the American League in 2022. And then when we met up, it was a collision course. So here, when you look at MLB now, the Mets have the 4th best record or 2nd or 3rd best record tied, with the Detroit Tigers. We'll see what happens tonight. At 26-15, they're one of the better teams in baseball. It's not a fluke. You can't say it's because they beat up on the A's or the Marlins or whoever. They're a pretty solid bunch. And so are the Yankees, who scored a ton of runs. And we are in for a movie, a 3-game set in the Bronx, the first time we've had a 3-game set since 2021.
Listen, we can all bitch and complain about Juan Soto's slow start. I am not concerned one bit. I will continue not to be concerned until he actually proves at the end of the year that he's a 250 hitter, and I don't believe that. So I am not concerned about Juan Soto. Francisco Lindor has been incredible. Pete Alonso has been incredible. Nimmo, incredible. the Luis Torrens situation has been just like.
Oh yeah, he's another one.
And we can, and Mets fans, if you ever need to kneel your Yankees brethren, $100,000.
Yeah, but a lot of Yankee fans don't know who Luis Torrens is.
As long as Torrens would be nice to have. Like that dude can start.
No, he would be nice to have. I've had this conversation in a right-handed bat and like his defense, and if like he was the backup to Wells, not to knock Ascara had a decent little weekend. But yeah, to think you gave that guy away to your crosstown rival for $100,000, and now he's like not for nothing. There are Mets fans that definitely feel like he's better than Alvarez, and they rather see him more than Alvarez. Like think about that emergence from the Scranton, from the Rail Riders.
I listen. The Subway Series is going to be awesome. The only thing that I'm concerned about is the weather. It looks rather wet this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to play through the rain.
So that kind of stuff, that'll put a literal damper on the situation. So
it's going to be messy out there.
It'll be messy. So that takes it away.
And depending on how long they end up delaying a Friday night with the drunks out there, it could actually get really messy.
It gets spicy. It can get spicy. I'm excited, man. Like the Mets and the Yankees could absolutely meet in October.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But sure, it's on the table.
It's usually not on the table. It is on the table. The Mets are 26-15. They're a very good team. We know the Yankees are very, very good. Okay? So these two teams are very, very good. If you take Ohtani out of the equation, the two best players in baseball might be Aaron Judge and Francisco Lindor. Mm-hmm. And that's not even home.
I was about to say, what about Pete?
That is, I love Pete. Pete Starr has been incredible, but Lindor has been just the spark. Like he has been the last 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, I think Pete is higher in the odds to win MVP. It's like him, Fernando Tatis Jr. I think those two are up there in the National League. Lindor as well. Lindor is amazing. I never a bad word about Pete or Lindor. A couple bad words about Soto, but like of course, Juan Soto. Like remember earlier I said you can't police fans. You can't tell fans in the Garden to stand up the whole game. They're going to sit down. You can't tell them when to be loud or what to do. Juan Soto is getting booed, and he's probably getting booed every inning that he runs out there. And I don't think they're going to shield him and put him at DH. So every inning that he's out there, he's getting booed and he's getting talked to, and there are going to be signs and there are going to be people. There are going to be people that turn their back. There are going to be people that potentially turn their back. But why would you do that? Then you can't see what's going on.
Juan Soto actually gives a crap.
Of course he does. But I think he feeds off that. I think he likes that. I think he's going to sit there and be locked into the game. But listen to all that. I was at a lot of those games where, him, Judge, they had fun with the crowd, trying to, hype the crowd up to see where to throw a baseball. Hey, Juan, right hand for left hand for everybody's seen those videos. And, he had the loudest roll call. And I am interested to see, will he throw a warm-up ball into the stands and where? Because that's where that's going to be an interesting look. Because then those Yankee fans that are booing him and be like, right here, Juan, throw it to me.
If like Soto, let's just say gets a home run first inning, I think that.
I'm betting him the homer every game, all 3 games. Soto to homer, definitely.
You saw the powers early that home run he hit in Citi Field to like the bridge almost. That's one of the.
He's unlocking at the right time. He's got this little bit of a cold stretch here, like I just said. 0 for his last 11. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that at all. I'm sure he'll get right here against the Pirates, and he'll be ready to go in Yankee Stadium this weekend. I'll see you there. I think I'm going Friday and Saturday. I'll be on Friday night after the game, and then I'm also on Sunday, but I'm on Sunday before the game where, like, I want to go to Sunday Night Baseball, but I also don't want to go late. I could leave here and get home and be set up. I'll probably go home. So maybe I'm going Friday, but then the turnaround Friday is, like, for me, go to sleep and try to medicate myself to sleep at 3 a.m. like magnesium, melatonin, Unisom, Zysol, load up to make myself go to sleep at 3:30. Then I'm gonna be drowsy in the morning when that alarm goes off naturally at 9, and then I'm out of my house by 10 to get to the stadium at 11, 2 hours before first pitch, and then turn it right back up for a Saturday, and it might be raining. So, man, big week and big weekend coming up. We've got to take a break. When we come back, it should be halftime or close to it. Keith McPherson on the Fan until 9 o'clock. So last call for calls. We'll be right back. They're down 13. Damn, I gotta charge my phone a little bit. And then we're out. Goaltend? I'll be back.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I see you step out, so I think we come in.
Really open up game one. Yeah. Got it. Tatum, bang. 62-51, 9-point lead at half. That's not good enough. It's not good enough. Because one bucket makes that double digits, and it's a lot of work. They got to come out in the third quarter and work their asses off. And they don't always do that. The Knicks. Yo. All right, last 9 minutes of my show tonight. Quick one, But don't worry, I'll be back tomorrow and the day after and the day after. And like I said, I'll do the Sunday sauce, little Sunday show. I mean, another plot twist with, going to the game. Keith McPherson on the fan. NJ Transit potential strike coming up this, I think, Friday, I was hearing. Yep, NJ Transit put out, due to potential rail service stoppage, NJ Transit will not be operating train or bus service to MetLife Stadium for Shakira concert. No, that's not what I was looking for. Let's see. There was another one that they put up. Yeah. In the event of potential rail stoppage that could begin on Friday, May 16th, NJ Transit is urging all train customers to work from home if possible and only use other NJ Transit service for essential travel. Well, the whole work from home thing ended like a year or two ago. Like, most people have to go to work. Some people have remote jobs, but like, as far as like, the pandemic and working from home, like, you got to go to work. I've done every single show from here. I've never done a show from home. Little sidebar. It's not hard for me here. I don't take NJ Transit to get here. But when you're thinking about how many people from New Jersey might be taking the train into the city to go to Yankee Stadium, or Friday, Game 6 at Madison Square Garden, could get a little tricky. 888-808-1019 if you'd like to talk to me about the Knicks. They're down 62-51 at halftime. 9 points to me, I don't think is a safe enough lead. 9 points to me, I just think that the Knicks, they've had some struggles coming out of halftime in the third quarter, and like, they need their best third quarter here. They've got to come out firing. They've got to come out really strong, and that might be a little bit of a tall task for them right now. And if the Celtics hit one bucket, they're up double digits. Celtics hit a couple buckets, and they're just running away with this thing. And then it can't come down to a fourth quarter. Like, if the Celtics are able to go up 20 again in the second half, like we've seen multiple times, it'll be whether the Knicks are able to close it or not to be the deciding factor. If they're able to close that 20-point gap again, which I don't expect that to happen, it's going to be tough. Basically, what I'm telling you is I don't feel good about the Knicks stealing this one. You stole 2 games. You can't steal a series. You stole 2 games. I don't know if you could steal 3 out of the 4 wins required. Like, stealing multiple games in their other building like that, it's tough. Like, now they're on high alert. Jason Tatum at the half, 20 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 8 for 13. First player with a 25, 2 steals, 2 blocks first half in the playoffs. So he's dialed. Maybe that wrist is feeling a little bit better. Anyway, what I wanted to do before I got out of here tonight was talk about the NFL schedule leaks. So Wednesday we'll get the schedule, but the NFL is king, and they start to leak stuff out there. And I just ran into Double R, and he was like, Philly, Dallas, week 1. I'm like, yeah, I saw that. I also saw the Jets will be facing the Broncos in London. I need a reason to go back to London. I would love to go back to London for any reason. New York will host the Denver Broncos on October 12th, week 6 in London. And what other one did I see? There's a few coming out there. And, the way that the schedules are done. But what they do is, they trickle out these, certain games like, okay, week 17, Thursday Night Football on Prime Video, Denver Broncos versus Kansas City Chiefs. That's the Christmas Thursday Night Football game. Like, how about the Chiefs saying, we want to play on Christmas every year. We want to be a part of it. Okay, you got it. You got it. A red team, big jolly head coach. You got it. Yeah, Eagles, Cowboys to kick off the season in Philly. Man, perfect way to humble the champs. Dallas to go in there and beat them. George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Jaden Blue. Week 13. The Chicago Bears will play a Friday night game, November 28th, Black Friday, against the Eagles in Philly. The NFL is king. They're going to take all the holidays they can take. They're going to do what they got to do. And as far as the Giants are concerned, I know I was having a conversation last week about how I like the Giants draft. I like the personality of these guys. I finally think now we're about to see Shane and Dable's team and the guys that they picked it, and they picked, and there's less of the Gettleman guys, and like now you're about to see what these guys can do. I still don't expect them to win a lot of games, but I do expect that over under to shift the game from 3.5 to maybe 4.5 based on where they're playing. And you know how the schedule is, with flights and certain trips. Like, we know that at home they'll face their division, the Giants, but then at home they also have to host the Green Bay Packers, the Minnesota Vikings, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the San Francisco 49ers. That is a tough go about. And then you got to face the two teams that were in the NFC Championship and a Dallas team that last year did not have Dak Prescott. Now they have Dak Prescott. Now they have George Pickens, and now they have some new draft picks as well. It's uphill. I expect them to compete, but even if they're competing, it's hard to beat these established teams with quarterbacks. I'm telling you already, and I've gotten out in front of this, I don't expect Russell Wilson to be anything. I expect him to be pedestrian average. And if he's pedestrian average, they need to be plus elsewhere. Did we talk about Gabe Davis? I don't know if I got an opportunity to talk about Gabe Davis signing with the Giants. Obviously, coming from the Bills, he knows that system. The Giants got to be plus on defense. And I think they could be with that defensive line. They've got to be good everywhere else, and it's just going to be tough. On the road, this is where I think they'll be able to steal some games. Like, didn't we see them? We saw them steal a game against the Browns early in the year, against Seattle earlier in the year, and I think that's just like teams will underestimate them. So their road schedule outside of the division, they go to Chicago. Why can't they beat the Chicago Bears? They definitely could beat the Chicago Bears. Why can't they beat the New England Patriots? In theory, they definitely could beat the Saints. Derek Carr just retired. Who are the Saints going to put out there? Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shuck? They definitely can beat the Saints. There's 3 potential wins right there. Now, I'm not going to say that they definitely could beat the Raiders. The Raiders now have Geno Smith. Now they have Ashton Jeanty as well, and their regime is different. But what a trip if you're a Giants fan to go to Vegas to see the Giants potentially steal a game from the Raiders. When will that be? That's what I want to know. When is that, early in the season or is that late in the season? Because those things matter too. Early in the season, guys are healthier. They just have more gusto about them. And then they also have to go to Detroit and Denver. That's another great place to go see a football game. The culture in Mile High and just the city of Denver is amazing. So we are going to find out soon the home and away schedule for the Giants and where they're going to go. Same with the Jets. We do already know that they're going to London. And then I think we can play the game of this is a loss, this is a win, this is potentially a loss or a win. And yeah, football will be here before we know it. So looking forward to all of it. Looking forward to this entire week. We'll see what the Knicks end up doing here. Again, the Knicks, I feel like they needed to close that halftime to one possession. It's 62-51. And when you look at what Tatum has already done, what Derek White has already done, it's going to be tough. As far as the Yankees are concerned, I expect them to pick up where they left off, scoring a lot of runs, winning in Sacramento, carrying that over to Seattle. And the Mets are still tied 1-1, top of the 7th, tight game there. I don't know if Paul Skeens is out of that game yet. He's not. So a little bit of a battle there. Again, let's go Yanks. Coming your way next, live from T-Mobile Park in Seattle. Dave Sims, Susan Waldman with New York Yankees baseball. Me, I'm going to go home and watch and actually go to sleep tonight. If I fall asleep during the game, so be it. All right, I'm done. Keith McPherson on the Fan. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for Yankees baseball. Good night. All right. Yo, that's it, folks. Let's see. Damn. Bro, not for nothing. Never comment on anybody's time off. For anybody listening, never speak on another man's time off. You don't know what people have going on in their personal life, in their family. You don't know their situation. I never question a man's time off. They did the same to me. I had my paternity leave, and they openly joked, which I thought was a funny joke. I thought Recco landed the joke well. He said something along the lines of, Keith McPherson has been on paternity so long, or on paternity leave so long, he just dropped his son off at college. Like, that's a good joke. But at the same time, I was home changing diapers every 90 minutes in the middle of the night. My baby kicking and screaming. I'm filling up, heating up bottles. I'm losing my mind because I'm not sleeping. I never did it before. And I'm away from all my family, an hour away. My wife had a C-section where they cut her open to get my son out. So she was healing. She couldn't do as much for the baby. So dad, me, I'm catering to her and I'm catering to my son. And they're cracking jokes on the radio that I was out for too long. So never comment on another man's time off and what they're doing. You just got to kind of mind your business with that and don't speak on that type of stuff. That's a good way to end it. Thanks for watching. Hit like. I'll be back tomorrow.